Ow. No! These are library books. How could you do that? Now nobody else can read them. How is that fair to anybody else? Yeah. You know what? You're right. They're cursed spell books, specially made for a witchy girl, just like myself. And this witchy girl isn't going to be found hanging from a tree branch in Salem. This witchy girl is going to place a hex on each and every single one of you. May your blood curdle in your veins and your eyes spoil like milk, and may your lineage die with your half-life. I mean, that's what you want me to say, isn't it? Is this not the girl you molded me into? Isn't this what you wanted? You know, I thought I was handling myself fine, if I do say so myself. I don't know why they latched onto the witch thing so strongly, considering how much of a point I make to be a so-called man of science. Is it just because of my physical appearance? I recognize that I'm not exactly the type you'd see during Paris Fashion Week, I mean, beyond the anemia, but... Appearances are unimportant to me. Don't try anything. I could probably stand to wash my hair more anyhow. Maybe then I wouldn't look like I just crawled out of an inkwell. Besides, there are far more important casualties to be concerned with on a day like this. These are reference books. Luckily, they're hardcover copies, and they seem to have absorbed the worst that the damage could offer, but the warping of the pages will be inevitable. And that's assuming the ink doesn't run. They're old books, far too old to function as a contemporary reference for much of anything beyond the failure in regards to funding education in this great nation of ours, but I still believe that they could function as a beneficial tool to all or any who plan to use it, provided that they still can. I think air drying would be the best to leave warping to a minimum. The librarians are going to be so disappointed in me for returning materials in such a damaged state, so I might just pay for the damages anyhow. How disappointing. What are you talking about? I never told you the bullying got this bad? Well, what is there to tell, really? Dove, I'm serious. It's barely even a greater casualty in my mind. My clothes will dry and I'll heal. I have the potential to. Those are different. I don't exactly wear the mask because I'm the germophobic type. Dear. Look, I can handle myself. I feel no need to burden anybody else with problems that only exist because they arbitrarily choose to exist. Those kids don't need to pick on me the same way they don't need to pick on anybody else. But they do. This is a manufactured issue that comes from the need to enforce even the most benign of social mores. Ergo, I'm not going to make myself more a part of the industrialization process than I already am in the commodification of my own personal suffering. Basically, in the words you'd use, those kids suck ass, but there's nothing I can do about it, so I don't really see the need to kick up a fuss. Okay, so maybe you wouldn't use the words fuss or ass, but look, how are you suggesting I go about this, really? A faculty member will just tell me to make myself less of a target, but what would that even look like to them? What angle would I have to take to accomplish that? What would even be the point if I didn't even know how I was specifically not conforming to their status quo? And what are you really going to do, now that you know that the harassment has escalated from name-calling into physical assault and destruction of property? I doubt you're gonna fight them yourself. It's an exercise in futility to really do anything about it. Besides, you have so many better things to worry about. It's lucky your stalker didn't come the nights I was able to sleep over with you. At the very least. Not that we ourselves know of, but they've left evidence that they returned the nights I haven't. With your luck, maybe one of my tormentors have been tormenting you in an entirely different way. Hey, just saying that it could be worse. The person who spends most of their days choking me out in the hallway just might want to. My apologies. That was crass of me to insinuate. My apologies. One of the assailants used similar language against me, and you cannot exactly blame me in my want to understand every facet of human society to imitate it for the sake of understanding its appeal. I understand it's a sex thing, but how is the bigger question? Like, what's the appeal in something that can lead to brain damage or death during an act of. I'm just speaking plainly. I think there's a lot of untapped research potential there, but since you insist on remaining on the main topic, my point is that you are under so, so, so much stress at the moment, beyond school and anything else you might be trying to do, to know that somebody has the ability to gain access to your house, both through the half-open window or the locked door, and has this access for the express purpose of an interest in you. It must be rough. I know I regularly do these little thought exercises where I place myself into different contexts with different worldviews to try to parse a greater meaning that can only come from trying to understand that aforementioned greater meaning, but I I really can't imagine what you're going through. The highly specific perspective you had that you were raised under as, and, well, how in turn you would respond to the idea of a romantically interested stalker. I mean, it's. Look, I'll look after you. You'll look after me. Maybe we should try to walk each other to class just to avoid these kind of incidents, and in turn, I can walk you home to make sure that your stalker of yours doesn't get any ideas. Does that sound good to you? It's always nice to be able to reach total synthesis with another person, and I appreciate you, as always, being so willing to listen to my ideas. I say we initiate such a strategy now, as we still have 15 minutes left of lunch before our next 3 classes, and I need to get my gym clothes from my locker, considering the fact I am soaked. I mean, with how thin this sweater is and the way it won't stop sticking to my skin, you can practically see my. Ah, my apologies. Shall we?